One of my favorite things in the whole world, packing peanuts. At least the board's it looks like it's wrapped really, really well, but packing peanuts.
So what was in the box is a Z390 Phantom Gaming 6, an ASRock board that, as you can probably tell if you're really looking close, there's a bent pin. It turns out there's more than one, but right there, yeah, you can see it just a little bit out, but I've already tried to make sure the pin was there, but now we have to try to straighten it and put it back in place. So I'm right now, that's just a staple. I've actually sort of bent back out a staple where I can use it. I do also have a razor blade and a very, very small screwdriver to try to do this with. It's very painstaking. I am like in there close between times of being able to see it visually, put my finger across it, and I just very gently rub to see how it feels or if it's out of place. And then sometimes I'll use my camera as a magnifying glass or like a microscope type thing. Very, very painstaking and very slow. When I get this one, there's actually two more areas that I'm looking at up here. And I was able to actually get all of that squared away and figured out. And after a while, I'm making sure, and all I'm doing here is just touching it. But after a while of going through that and trying to straighten these out and making sure they're all in line from whichever angle I was looking at it, then I went ahead and decided it was all right to go ahead and try to test. But you see me here trying to make sure everything's straight and everything's right. And yeah, that's the best I can do, is just do my best to try to line everything up so it's a usable, hopefully a usable board. At this point, I have no idea if it works yet, but we're going to give it a shot. We're going to see what happens. And it's a beautiful board, but we'll see if it's worth the effort here.
All right, so now that we've got the pins bent back like they're supposed to be, at least I hope, you might have seen me with some of the footage using my fingertip. Now, I'm not pushing down on these. I'm just lightly brushing my fingertip across so I can feel something that doesn't feel right, and then I can take a closer look at that section of the pins. I don't recommend doing that unless you have a very, very light touch, and I use my fingers a lot to do stuff like that where I can't see. If I'm trying to screw something in or trying to move something or do something or connect something, I'm used to using my fingertips more than my eyes a lot of times. But very, very lightly touching just to see if I can feel any kind of snag or any kind of grab. I would recommend probably visually inspecting this, but I did find two pins that were bent that I did not see, that when I gently rub my fingertip across, just kind of feeling the tops of the pins, because it should kind of feel smooth almost. But when it catches a little bit or where it doesn't feel right, that I stop. That's where I go looking. I'm not trying to like push anything or press anything down or anything like that. I'm trying to be very, very careful about the way I do that. But anyway, to be able to test this board, this 9th gen board, of course, we had to have a CPU, and it's only fitting that we get the best CPU we can for testing bent pins. A Celeron, a G4900. You didn't think I was going to think, you really didn't think I was going to go for a 9700K to test a board that cost me $25 plus shipping and had bent pins, did you? That will come later, but for now, a Celeron. We're going to plug it all up and see if we can get it to boot. If we don't get it to boot, I'm out $12 plus the $25 and the shipping, maybe a total of $47, $48. If it works, then we move on and we'll be testing this Celeron and see just how good it is. I can't wait. Would you look at that? Nice. So we did end up getting the Celeron to work. Like I had mentioned previously, I wasn't going to buy a $100 processor to put in a $25 board with bent pins that we didn't know if the board would work or not. The Celeron was only $12. Put it in there. It works great. The results were about what you'd expect. We kind of discovered that with Shadow of the Tomb Raider getting like 6 frames per second. Cyberpunk, I think, got like 2. Borderlands 3 would not run with or without a graphics card. Claptrap just ran across the screen for like 35, 40 minutes until I got tired of waiting. Interesting enough, though, Borderlands 4 did work with a video card. The RX 480 is the video card I chose to run with it. It did work, and after selecting its own settings, when it finally did all the shaders, about 45 minutes to an hour worth of compiling shaders, it went ahead and discovered its own settings for 1440p, and that was 1440p low with FSR. It did not tell me which FSR, but it was FSR, no frame gen on it, and performance was the FSR setting. So, but that did between 20 and 24 frames per second. It doesn't have its own benchmark tool, but it did auto select the settings. And I think if I bump this down to 1080 medium, it'll probably work out. But that wasn't what we were trying to do here. We were trying to go from the very bare minimum of running something to maybe 1080p or 1440p high, and it was quite a difference in the performance of that without a video card and with. I did also run Counter-Strike 2 with and without the video card. It's about 20 frames per second without the video card. Had a lot of heavy stutters, especially with explosions and stuff like that. It was much better with a video card in it, the RX 480. The first time I ran it through, it did about 95, 97 frames per second. I think I've got 97 written down there. But it stuttered quite a bit with explosions. When I'll grab the camera to go back over that and try to film that again to get that reaction, it didn't do it, and it ran a very smooth 104 all the way through. So, yeah, is this something that I can game on this Celeron 2-core 2-thread? Not a chance. Is it something that will work out okay? And until I get an 8700, 9700, or 9900, depending on budget, the 9900's out of my budget, especially for what I do here. I will probably settle on an 87 or 9700, whichever one I can get. I think that would be budget-minded enough, especially with the difference in what I paid for the board and getting it to work. So I was pretty happy, pretty surprised. I was also really surprised and very pleased that the RGB on the motherboard worked out okay. I was able to set that up in the BIOS, and it's got a reset button and a power button on the board itself. I felt a little spoiled there. It's the first time I've ever had a motherboard that had those buttons on the board itself. Running a channel like this, I don't have the budget for the top tier stuff. I can't afford a Crosshair or a Tai Chi or anything. So even buying this card, this Phantom Gaming, which was a higher end board, broken, I think I did okay. I came out pretty good on this one. I was trying to use my little switch that I connect to the connectors, the front panel connectors, and I realized I didn't have to do it because I found those buttons, and I had to smile a little bit when that happened. That was really, really cool. But anyway, if you got anything out of the video, looking forward to the next video or whatever, don't forget to like or subscribe. Still pushing to 2,000, 3,000 and beyond. If you don't mind, hit up the socials a little bit. I'm starting to stream on that Purple channel a little bit more. I'm starting to try to write more blog, that type of stuff, and just kind of get back into the swing of things, especially now that my AC is working. Yeah, but if you don't do any of that stuff, if you don't like, subscribe, or hit the socials, just do me one favor, and that's be good to each other. Smile, wave, hold the door open, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, that type of thing. You'd be surprised just how good you might feel after doing something nice, and it's absolutely free to do. Just smile at somebody or wave or say hi or something, Anyway, that is all I have for this time. So until I get myself into something I got no business getting into, and there's a pile of stuff sitting over there. Yeah, until I do that, that's all I got. So I'll see you later.